Welcome back to the News Hour. Before we go into our first News Hour discussion on whether what happened with Slumdog Millionaire in LA really moves India from a sideshow to a central theme at the global cinema stage, here's A.R. Rahman making history and then performing Jai Ho at the Oscars. Let's go to it one more time before we come back into the discussion. Oh, that was a great feeling, wasn't it? With us in the studio this evening, we have Shobha Dey with us in the studio. Thanks very much for coming back, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming in. Mr. Anupam Kher is with us, and we have two voting members of the Academy. Very, very happy to have Bhanu Athaiya, who was, in fact, Oscar winner, India's first Oscar, in fact, a voting member of the Academy, and Kabir Bedi, who's taken in, Indian talent to global stage much before all of this happened. Thank you so much for coming in. And Bobby Bedi is with us. Noted film director is joining us from Delhi. Thank you so much, Mr. Bedi, as well. My first question to you, you watched this today, and we were all very elated when we saw this performance happening. Some could not believe it, that this was actually happening at the Oscars. Is that how you felt?
I wouldn't go as far as to say I was euphoric. Okay. It was expected. It was quite predictable. There is always a pattern to these awards, and I don't think they took anybody really off guard. A lot of us had seen it almost coming. Yes. And every film, I think, has its moment. And the moment right now, every winner has his moment and her moment. And the timing was such that Slumdog and that kind of music and Rahman performing and the whole India feel had to happen, and it did.
What would you say, Mr. K, that this was India at the Oscars? Or is it Indians at the Oscars? Which is the way you would phrase it?
I think it's the people who won those awards made it India at the Oscars. I think the acceptance speeches of not only Indians who won the awards, but the people who are Americans or British who thanked Mumbai, who thanked India. And it was not one of those thank you speeches where there is a formality about it.
No.
I think it was very heartfelt, which speaks not only about the professionalism, but also speaks about the country that we represent.
It came from the heart.
Yeah, it came from the heart. And I think the entire credit for that goes to Danny Boyle. Because Danny Boyle, as a leader, made sure that this feeling was given in to the people, the crew, the crowd people, the tailors, the carpenters, and everybody who was there. I think that was phenomenal about it.
I still wonder what really it was about Slumdog. What was it about Slumdog?
Triumph, human triumph.
Is it human triumph? Is it this Charles Dickens-like story? Does it provoke you, hurt your,
I have a totally different take on this, Arnab. I think there is an element of voyeurism. The West, it's like getting almost a vicarious thrill, watching poverty of the third world. The first world looking at the third world poverty.
You know how controversial that thought is.
It doesn't matter. Because I heard it from various foreign journalists. And I asked them, what is it that fascinates you so much about this particular movie? And they said, a Swedish journalist said to me in complete seriousness, we have never ever seen poverty. We have not experienced it. Here is a look at something that is so exotic and so different for us. It's our reality is totally different.
Kabir Bedi wants to respond to that. Yes.
I would take some issue with that because, I don't think, Swedish or otherwise, I don't think people haven't seen poverty. You've seen enough news stories coming out of Africa, enough stories coming out of South Africa, out of Asia, to see what poverty is like. Now, the fact that you set a story in poverty doesn't mean it automatically guarantees success. Many have tried, many have failed. essentially what you've got is a truly well-scripted, well-plotted story set in the ambience of a slum.
But everyone doesn't think so. And let me go to let me bounce off the reaction of well-known director Priya Darshan. I want to bounce that off Mr. Bedi in Delhi.
Sure.
Mr. Bedi, you're hearing this chat, of course. I want to draw you into this chat. At the same time, you know what Priya Darshan had said? One of the many criticisms of Slumdog Millionaire, he had said that this is a mediocre version of those commercial films about estranged brothers and childhood sweethearts that Salim Javed used to write so brilliantly in the 1970s. Your thoughts on that, and also on the chat you were having?
Yeah. Hello, I don't know if you can hear me, but I've lost you. The big thing here is that this film was made from a Western viewpoint. The Oscars are an international award. It's judged by largely American but international audiences, and I think it is the international take on this film, the way they want to hear the story, the kind of film that they enjoy, and that's why it is won. And Priyadarshan might feel something, but the fact is that 1,000 Hindi films made a year, or whatever, 250 Hindi films made a year, make no mark because they're not designed to do so. Yet occasionally you find a Salam Bombay or a Bandit Queen or a Fire or a Water making its mark there because they've been made with a Western audience consciously in mind.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that our films cannot be any good, but I'm sure that if we start looking at it from that perspective, it will be. But Priyadarshan is looking at it from his perspective, that an Indian audience would probably think exactly what he is thinking, and I think that the world audience would think very, very differently.
I don't think cinema goes into...
It's not about slums, it's just the issue that is the most important thing.
Even Salman Rushdie said, he said it's visually brilliant, but there's no storyline. That's what Salman Rushdie had said.